Hey guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be talking about the Italian Grand Prix. I know it's been a few days since the race, nearly a week since the weekend itself began, but I'm going to talk about it because, well, I waited a while to see what the judgment was regarding Romain Grosjean and the Haas team, and so I'm going to be talking a bit about that. First off though, I'm going to talk about the on-track action, and then I'm later going to move on to a little bit about team orders. So firstly, the on-track action for the race. It was actually, I don't know, I thought it was alright as a race. Usually I'm a bit indifferent about Monza races. I think it's a good track, but I don't think we always have the best on-track action. And this season was kind of a repeat of all of that. The first half of the first lap was quite interesting until the safety car was brought out. Then the restart from that was also quite interesting, with Hamilton attempting to overtake Raikkonen and then Raikkonen re-overtaking Hamilton. With the exception of a couple of incidents further back and watching Vettel and for a while Ricciardo carving through the pack, it was largely a bit of a dull race. The action at the front was Hamilton chasing Raikkonen pitting early, Mercedes being clever with the use of Duff pit stops, though I believe that that is actually going to be close to being outlawed now because, well, it's exploiting parts of the rules and the FIA looking to close up that loophole. But after Raikkonen came back out, he came out behind Bottas. It was pretty much set in stone there. Bottas was going to back Raikkonen up into Hamilton so Hamilton could take the win, and so it would maximise Hamilton's points, and then Bottas would be able to potentially just stick behind Raikkonen, maybe even overtake him in the later stages. Of course, he got caught behind Verstappen, and then we had the incident with Verstappen. But that isn't really exciting. It's just the use of team orders. Bottas and Verstappen crash though was quite interesting because Max got caught out with the rule that was brought in to stop things that Max was doing in the early parts of his career. So it's definitely a deserved penalty. 5 seconds, that's more than enough. I think him being so outraged about that, saying it's what's killing the sport, there's some truth to it. I don't think he should have gotten as much. I don't really think, even though he did breach track limits, they should have really gotten a penalty for Austin last year. I think he should have gotten a penalty for the collision at Monza, but then I think that Hamilton should have been given some kind of warning for the collision at Monza, since, well, similar kind of incidents have warranted penalties for Ferrari drivers. The Grosjean disqualification is something that's quite interesting as well. I'm going to put a link down below for the Autosport video in which Shane Bear explains the disqualification rules regarding the flooring. I think it's also a little bit interesting that Magnussen wasn't disqualified. The reason why was because they said the Magnussen's floor was really so badly damaged that they couldn't potentially do a ruling on it. But it's a clever use of strategy by Renault, because they knew that Haas had an illegal flaw and Haas were given until Monza to rectify it. Haas were like, we'll rectify it for Singapore, and the FIA said, well, if you have a dodgy flaw at Monza, any other team can rightfully challenge that. I think it's a bit of a dodgy move by Renault, especially because it's supposed to be used by them to try and get leverage over Haas in the constructor standings, but it's a fair move. And also, it's, I believe, for the first time in the sport's history, correct me if I'm wrong here, and if I am wrong I will issue a correction, but I believe it's the first time in the sport's history in which all of the drivers that have competed in the season, competed in the races that is, have scored points, which is amazing, because Sirocco got 1 point as a result of Grosjean's disqualification. But, of course, as I said, I'm going to have a bit of a chat about team orders, and straight away, I don't like team orders. I think it's not particularly helpful for the sport. I know Ferrari are guilty of it pretty much any team with Vettel on it is quite guilty of it. Red Bull were quite guilty of it with the famous Multi-21, of course, but they're disobeyed. Hence why it's well known. But they did it a couple of times this year. I believe they did it at Hockenheim. It wasn't a race that I watched, but I believe they did it at Hockenheim to get Seb past Kimi. But what we saw with Mercedes and Monza it wasn't even entertaining racing, because it was quite predictable. When Kimi got stuck behind Valtteri, it's like, okay, Bottas is going to back him up into Lewis. Bottas is then going to pit, Lewis is going to get the victory because Kimi's going to be on dead tyres. And, well, that's what happened. Do I think that we could do with a team orders ban? Maybe. But then we already have enough bans on bits of the team radio. I think that it would be good to have a team orders ban if we allowed little bits like checking where teammates were and that kind of data sharing thing that we had, which Mercedes used to their advantage during the Rosberg-Hamilton era. Problem is, it is what F1 kind of is. It's just not fun to watch. Like I said, so many people are saying this is the best Italian Grand Prix in years. And to be honest, I don't agree. And I definitely don't agree with those who are saying it's one of the best races this season, because we've had so many great races already this season. Anyway, those are my thoughts. You might disagree, in which case you're welcome to voice your disagreements in the comments down below. If you did like this video, give it a like with the like button down there. That really helps me out. If you want to stick around here for more content, F1's kind of a thing that I'm into talking about at the moment. I just did an F1 video yesterday in F1 2018, which you can go check out. But if you want to stay subscribed, I'm going to be doing a career mode playthrough, which you can watch out for. It's going to be live streamed. And yeah, I do little bits and pieces about politics here, there, a little bit of everything. And I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.